So let us now study the members of Kingdom Monera. Right? These are the members of Kingdom Monera, or the so-called true bacteria. All right. So before we go into that, I will present to you the essential questions for this lesson on the Monerans. So what are prokaryotes, and why are they important? Number two, what are the different types of bacteria? And how can we prevent bacterial diseases from spreading? All right. And like what I mentioned, higher than a kingdom is called a domain. And there are three major domains of living things. So first, we have domain bacteria, which is our lesson for today. Then we have also the domain archaea, which we will be mentioning also, and the members of domain eukarya, in which we belong. All right? Now, domain bacteria and archaea are the so-called prokaryotes, while members of eukarya are eukaryotic. All right? And again, when we speak of prokaryotes, these are organisms in which their cells do not possess any nucleus, and they do not possess also membrane-bound organelles. So since they don't have any nucleus and they don't have those membrane-bound organelles like the mitochondria, wala silang endoplasmic reticulum, wala silang Golgi apparatus, so that makes them really primitive. In fact, members of the domain archaea and bacteria, these are the most primitive of living things. In fact, they were the first cells to have appeared millions of years ago in the history of life on Earth. All right. So under prokaryotes, we have the members of archaebacteria or domain archaea. And members of archaebacteria are the so-called extremophiles. All right, extremophiles. So what do we mean by extremophiles? So these are organisms that can tolerate extreme conditions. So they can survive under extreme environmental conditions. That's why they're called extremophiles or members of archaebacteria. An example of which are the methanogens. Right? So pag sinabi nating methanogens, these are members of archaebacteria that can tolerate very high concentrations of methane. Now we know that methane is toxic. No? But you'll be amazed that these organisms, the methanogen, they can tolerate very high concentrations of methane. All right? Or another example of archaebacteria are the so-called halophiles. So halophiles, these are members of archaebacteria that can tolerate very salty conditions, yung masyadong maalat, like those in the Dead Sea. Diba? We know sa Dead Sea, masyadong maalat and talagang walang isda doon. But these halophiles can survive doon sa Dead Sea na sobrang alat. Alright? And also we have thermophiles. Na pag sinabi nating thermophiles, these are members of archaebacteria that can tolerate very high temperatures. In fact, they can live inside the crater of volcanoes. Alright? Meron pa. Let me give you an example. Ito, the scientific name of this archaebacteria is Deinococcus radiodurans. Deinococcus radiodurans can live inside the nuclear reactor. Biruin nyo yun, di ba? So, inside the nuclear reactor, mataas yung radiation level. No one can survive inside the nuclear reactor, but these members of archaebacteria, Deinococcus radiodurans, can survive. No, inside the nuclear reactor, yung mga cooling jackets ng nuclear reactor. Ganon sila kalupit, no? Right? So those are the members of archaebacteria or the so-called extremophiles. Alright? O kasama na rin dyan yung acidophiles. Pag sinabing acidophiles, they can tolerate very acidic conditions. Alright? So those are the members of Archaebacteria. Let's study the bacteria. No, bacteria. So these are under the members of Monera, no, Kingdom Monera. Alright? So under Kingdom Monera, we have the true bacteria. So ito yung bacteria na kilala natin. No, and pag sinabi nating bacteria, what is your impression about these mga organisms na to, true bacteria? Di ba nagbibigay sila ng sakit? No, our impression of them would be that they are disease-causing, mga pathogenic, mga pathogens, or ano yung common name ng pathogen? Germs. Di ba? Germs. And also under Kingdom Monera, we have the members of Cyanobacteria. Now, pag sinabi nating cyanobacteria, these are the blue-green algae. No? Photosynthetic sila. Na they are photosynthetic autotrophs. So, I assume alam niyo na yung term na autotroph. No? Pag sinabi nating autotroph, these are organisms that can manufacture their own food. No? Either through photosynthesis or chemosynthesis. Alright? Okay, so yeah, those are the members of Kingdom Monera. So we have the true bacteria and the members of Cyanobacteria. These are the blue-green algae or the photosynthetic members of Monera. All right. Okay, so what do we know about bacteria? So, di ba, ang ating impression about them is most of them are disease-causing. Di ba? Nagbibigay sila ng sakit, illnesses. But again, after this lesson, I hope you would realize that ang mga bacteria actually are beneficial. Kailangan natin sila. Alright? Most of them are actually beneficial and only a few of them are pathogenic. And what comes to our minds when we think of bacteria? Di ba? Germs. Germs, pathogens, disease-causing organisms. Di ba yan ang pumapasok sa utak natin every time we think of the word bacteria. No, but again, like what I mentioned, 80% of them are actually beneficial and only 10% are harmful or pathogenic. Alright, so what information can you infer about bacteria from the pictures presented here? Ayan, like for example, eto, di ba? May mga bacteria kasi na bilog. No, some bacteria are rounded in shape under the microscope. Meron naman mga bacteria like E. coli. Ang E. coli, by the way, makikita yan sa fecal matter. No? Alright, isa sa mga maduduming lugar, E. coli. And ang E. coli under the microscope is rod-shaped. No? Rod-shaped siya. Okay, yan, ito like this one. Rod-shaped yung mga bacteria na ito. Ayan, rod-shaped. May mga bacteria din na spiral shape, like yung bacteria that causes leptospirosis. No, kaya tinawag siyang spirosis kasi yung bacteria is spiral shape, no? Alright, so now you know, leptospirosis is spiral shape pala siya. Ayan, no? Ito mga bilog-bilog na bacteria. Alright, rounded shape bacteria. So iba-ibang klase ang shapes ng bacteria. Alright, so at this point, let us now enumerate the general characteristics of the members of Kingdom Monera. Alright, so number one, characteristic of the members of Kingdom Monera is that members of Kingdom Monera are prokaryotes. Ayan, so alam na natin ito, na hindi ko na siya paliliwanag masyado. Again, pag sinabi nating prokaryotes, the organism is made up of cells without the nucleus and without membrane-bound organelles. So all members of Kingdom Monera are prokaryotic. Ayan, so tandaan nyo yan, guys. Then some bacteria are photosynthetic autotrophs, no, like yung mga cyanobacteria. Now, photosynthetic, again, they possess chlorophyll. They can harness the energy from the sun so that they can manufacture food. So, yan yung mga photosynthetic autotrophs. While others are heterotrophic. So, wala silang chlorophyll. So, that means that they cannot manufacture their own food. No, like yung mga true bacteria, yan, yung mga disease-causing bacteria, mga heterotrophs yan. Okay, yung mga photosynthetic autotrophs are the members of cyanobacteria. Na may chlorophyll, so that means that they can harness the energy from the sun. Alright? Okay, then number 3, bacteria play important ecological roles as decomposers. And this is just one of the many benefits that we get from bacteria. So, most bacteria are actually decomposers. So, ano yung mga decomposers na ito? Pag sinabi nating decomposers, they can break down dead organic matter. Okay, kanya pag namatay yung aso ninyo, ayan, di ba, nabubulok yung aso. So, may mga bacteria that breaks down the carcass of the dead dog. Then, saan pupunta yun? Babalik yan sa soil. And the plants will absorb yung mga organic matter for their growth. So, yan ang cycle of nature. No? So, yung mga decomposers, basically, they recycle organic matter back into the soil for the use of plants. And most bacteria are actually decomposers. Alright? Pero, di ba, sa kaso natin, ayaw natin nabubulok yung mga pagkain. Kasi mga decomposers din yan. Ayaw natin napapanis yung mga pagkain natin. So, may mga ways to control the growth of bacteria na pag-uusapan natin later. Pero ang bacteria talagang very important yan as decomposers. In biology, ang tawag natin sa kanila ay saprophytes. Take note of the term, guys. Saprophytes. What are saprophytes? Saprophytes are organisms that breaks down dead organic matter, or put it simply, mga decomposers. Pero yung biological term ng decomposer is saprophytes. Okay? Tandaan niyo yung mga terms na yan. No? Okay, number 4. Typical method of prokaryotic cell reproduction is through binary fission. Now, binary fission is totally different from mitosis. As I will explain later. Hindi to mitosis ang binary fission. And this would explain why bacteria can double their population in a matter of 15 minutes. A bacterial population can double its number in a matter of minutes, na 15 minutes max, because of binary fission. And bacteria, they occur in almost every environment on Earth. Halos lahat ng kasulok-sulukan ng ating mundo ay may bacteria. No, from the bottom of the ocean floor, deep inside solid rock, and even to the cooling jackets of nuclear reactors. Like kasasabi ko lang kanina, may mga bacteria na nasa loob ng nuclear reactor. Alright? Ito mga archaebacteria called Deinococcus radiodurans. Alright? So, ayan guys, pati nga sa ating katawan. Diba may bacteria? Kahit maligo kayo ng 6 na beses sa isang araw, di matatanggal yung bacteria. We have also bacteria inside our gut, sa large intestine natin. Ayan. Aminin natin, may bacteria tayo dyan sa loob ng ating mga bituka. May bacteria rin tayo sa bibig. May bacteria tayo sa kilikili, sa mga singit, ganyan. No? So, bacteria occur in almost every environment on Earth. Ayan, no? Alright, guys. So, those are the general characteristics of the members of Kingdom Monera. Alright? Okay, so I guess we can now proceed with the structure of a typical bacterial cell. Okay, so first, everybody kindly take a look at this illustration of a typical bacterial cell. So the outermost layer of a typical bacterial cell is called the capsule. Ito yung pula. Ayan, that's the capsule of a bacterial cell. Ano ba itong capsule na ito? The capsule is a jelly-like layer of polysaccharide. Pag sinabi nating polysaccharide, sugar yan. Alright? And what's the function of the capsule? Now, the capsule protects the bacteria. Alright? It protects the bacteria from what? From changes in the environment or nagkaroon ng harsh conditions sa environment, so the bacteria is protected. Like for example, yung contaminated water, 'di ba usually ano bang ginagawa natin pag contaminated yung tubig, 'di ba? Pinapakuluan natin. No? All right? So pag pinapakuluan natin ng tubig with bacteria, baka isipin niyo, mamamatay itong mga bacteria na ito. But mind you guys, no. Hindi talaga mamamatay lahat because the bacteria is protected by the capsule, especially yung mga pathogenic bacteria. So, yung mga capsule na yan is often associated with pathogenic bacteria. Pag sinabi nating pathogenic, disease-causing. Alright? Because it serves as a barrier against phagocytosis and even a barrier against changes in the surrounding. Kunya, biglang uminit o biglang lumamig. Diba? So the bacteria, especially the pathogenic ones, are protected by this capsule. No? Kaya yung mga commercial sa TV, mga products that kill bacteria, like for example, Safeguard. No, diba? Ano ba ang claim ng Safeguard? Diba ang kine-claim ng Safeguard is they can only kill 99.9 or 99.5% lang ng bacteria, diba? Pag mga ganyan yung commercial, legit yun. No? Hindi kayo binobolan yan. Kasi talagang ganon. Hindi naman mamamatay lahat ang bacteria. Even yung mga alcohol, kahit mag-alcohol kayo, magbabad kayo sa alcohol, hindi mamamatay yan lahat. No? Kaya pag meron kayong narinig na commercial na this product is 100% efficient, wag na kayong maniwala. Okay? Why? Because bacteria are protected by the capsule. No? So, hindi lahat ng bacteria mamamatay kahit pakuluan nyo yan ng tubig, yung pakuluan ninyo, painitin ninyo, palamigin ninyo, ipabag nyo sa alcohol or some other chemicals. They will not all die out. No? Kasi because of the capsule. Okay? Alright. Now, beneath the capsule, sa ilalim ng capsule is the cell wall. Ayan, no? So, cell wall. The cell wall of bacteria is composed of peptidoglycan. Now, from the words peptido means protein. Yung glycan refers to sugar. Kaya peptidoglycan, polysaccharide and protein. Yung peptido means protein. Anong function ng bacterial cell wall? The bacterial cell wall maintains the overall shape of the bacterial cell. So, di ba nabanggit ko kanina na may mga bacteria na bilog, may mga bacteria na rod shape, may mga bacteria na spiral shape. All because of the cell wall. The cell wall maintains the overall shape of the bacterial cell. Alright? Okay, then beneath the cell wall, sa ilalim ng cell wall is the membrane. Ang cell membrane ng bacteria is a bilipid layer, no? Parang cell membrane din ng ibang cells. No? And ano bang function ng cell membrane? The cell membrane regulates what goes in and what goes out. Diba? So, anong tawag natin dyan? So, we call that semi-permeability. Diba? Semi-permeability. So, the cell membrane is semi-permeable, meaning hindi lahat ay makakapasok at hindi rin lahat makakalabas. No? Alright, guys. Then, beneath the membrane is the cytoplasm. Nakikita nyo itong blue area na to. That's the cytoplasm. And suspended in the cytoplasm are the following. So, ito yung DNA niya. So, you will notice that the DNA is not surrounded by a membrane. Wala siyang nucleus. No? And, may mga organelles like ribosomes. Pero if you will notice, walang mitochondria, walang endoplasmic reticulum, walang Golgi apparatus, walang lysosomes, wala yun lahat except for the ribosomes. Alright? And may plasmids. So, ang mga plasmids. So, take note guys, plasmids are circular loops of DNA. No, mga DNA din, kaya lang bilog-bilog siya. And ang mga plasmids, very important yan in genetic engineering. Yan ang ginagamit ng ating mga scientists for their genetic engineering research. Alright? And also, kung mapapansin nyo, surrounding the bacteria are hair-like structures. Ito parang mga buhok-buhok. Ang tawag dyan ay pili. Pili. Or pili. Ano ibig sabihin ng pili? These are hollow, hair-like structures made of protein. And itong mga pili na to, this allows the bacteria to attach to other cells. Para hasak ng lagim, lalo na yung mga pathogenic bacteria. Alright, so yan yung mga pili. No? They allow the bacteria to attach to other cells. Now, there is a special type of pili. No? Medyo mas mahaba siya, no? As compared to the rest of the pili. Itong pili ito mas mahaba. No? Ang tawag dyan ay sex pilus. Alright? Ang sex pilus, isa lang yan, medyo mahaba siya compared to the other pili. The sex pilus allows the transfer of genetic material or DNA from one bacterial cell to another. So parang ganito guys, ayan. So makikita nyo in our illustration, ito yung sex pilus. Alright, the sex pilus, when it is injected to another bacterial cell, much like sexual intercourse. Ayan, ayan, ayan. So yung sex pilus, it will penetrate another bacterial cell. And ano mangyayari ngayon dito? There will be an exchange of genetic material, no, between these two cells. So ang tanong ngayon guys, kagaya nito. So we have here two bacterial cells. Ito yung sex pilus niya. So ang tawag dito is conjugation. Alright? When two bacterial cells come together through the sex pilus, ang tawag dyan ay conjugation. Much like sexual intercourse in higher organisms. So itong conjugation na ito will allow the bacteria to engage in exchange of genetic material. So ngayon ang tanong guys, ano yung importance ng palitan na to? What is the significance of this transfer, exchange of genetic material between two bacterial cells during the process of conjugation? Pag nagpalitan sila ng DNA, ano yung mangyayari? We have learned this already na nabanggit na natin to before. The result is variation, di ba? Pagkakaiba. So, hindi lahat din ng bacteria ay pare-pareho. Nag-mutate sila. No, it allows itong exchange of genetic material will allow genetic variation and mutation of the bacterial cells. Nag-mutate sila. And this is the reason why yung mga antibiotics are prescribed. No, hindi nagbibigay ng antibiotics ang mga butika, yung mga drugstores, no? You need a prescription from the doctor. Kasi ang tendency niyan, pag inom kayo ng antibiotic, chances are mag-mutate ang mga bacteria and the result would be resistance to the antibiotic. Nagkakaroon sila ng antibiotic resistance ang mga bacteria. At yun ang iniiwasan ng mga medical doctors natin, no? For the bacteria to develop resistance to the antibiotic. So, sayang, walang bisa na yung gamot. Huh? Kasi nag-mutate ang mga bacteria, much just like viruses. Diba? Ang mga viruses, nag-mutate din yun. Alright? But that's another story sa mga viruses. Okay guys? Sige, let's continue. Then we have the nucleoid region. Ito, no? So ito yung kung saan nakalagay yung DNA. That's the area where the DNA of the bacterial cell is located and generally confined not by a membrane. No? Generally confined, not bounded by a membrane. So wala siyang nuclear membrane. Kaya walang nucleus ang bacteria. No? Mga prokaryotes sila. Alright guys. Okay, let's try to answer this question before we move on. Alright, so the antibiotic streptomycin works by inhibiting protein synthesis. What bacterial structure is affected and what do you think will happen if the bacteria would be exposed to streptomycin? Alright, so what do you think? streptomycin works by inhibiting protein synthesis. So what bacterial structure is affected? Anyone? Pag ang streptomycin inhibits protein synthesis, ano yung bacterial structure na affected? So ang streptomycin affects the ribosomes. So through streptomycin inhibits protein synthesis by the ribosomes. Okay, so let's move on now to reproduction. The mode of reproduction of bacteria is called binary fission. Everybody listen ha. Ang binary fission ay totally different from mitosis. We know from our Bio 1 that in mitosis, before a cell could split into two, no, bago mahati yung cell sa dalawa, the parent cell or the original cell must undergo stages. Diba? So I'm sure you're familiar with the stages. So interphase, prophase, metaphase, anaphase, and telophase. Pagkatapos ng telophase, mag-i-split na yung cell, diba? So yun ang mitosis that we know of. Pero in binary fission, walang ganon. The cell, the bacteria, does not undergo the stages of mitosis. Walang ganun. The cell simply splits into two. No, as you could see in this animation, walang mga interphase, walang ganun, walang prophase, walang metaphase. The cell simply splits into two. So ano yung repercussion nito? Ano yung effect nito sa bacteria? Di mabilis silang dumami. They can double their population in a matter of minutes. No, kasi pag mitosis, pagdadaan pa yan ng stages, matagal. Inaabot nga ng 1 oras yung mitosis eh. Pero ang binary fission, minuto lang yan. That explains kung bakit mabilis dumami ang bacteria. Alright? Through binary fission. So, ang tawag dyan in biology is amitosis. Yung letter A in Latin means without. Mitosis stages. So, the bacteria does not undergo any of the stages of mitosis. The bacteria simply splits into two. Alright? So, moving on. Yan ang binary fission, guys. Alright, so next we move on now to the classification of bacteria. What are the different types of bacteria? Now, bacteria can be classified as follows. Ako, makinig kayo, guys, listen to me. So, bacteria can be classified according to the following. Number 1, according to whether they are gram-negative or gram-positive. Number 2, bacteria can be classified according to shape. Okay? Number 3, bacteria can be classified according to mode of respiration. We'll go into that later. Mode of respiration. Number 4, bacteria can be classified under mode of nutrition. Pag sinabi nating nutrition, alam niyo na yan, no? Kung autotrophic or heterotrophic sila. And number 5, bacteria can be classified whether they are pathogenic or beneficial. Alright, so let us now first go into the details of bacterial classification according to whether they are gram-negative or gram-positive. Ayan, very important to guys kasi pag nagkasakit kunyari, I'm sure lahat naman kayo na hospital na, no? And isang protocol ng hospital bago kayo i-admit, kunyari i-confine kayo, dadaan muna kayo sa sa laboratory na mag-ano kayo, yung mga test ng mga medtech, yung blood test, ayan, so, kung titignan nila kung ano yung klaseng bacteria na nasa dugo, diba, no? So, protocol yun ng mga hospital, no? Medical doctors, they need to classify yung bacteria sa katawan natin, whether yung bacteria ay gram-negative or gram-positive. Okay, so, that is done through gram staining. No, ang tawag sa technique na yan is gram staining. So, how gram staining is conducted and how it helps in identifying bacteria. Alright, so everybody listen to this, no? So, ganito yung, this is the simplest way that I can explain gram staining. Everybody, makinig kayo sa akin. So first, we have a sample of bacteria na nasa microscope slide. Ito na nakikita niyo, itong rectangular glass. Ang tawag dyan ay microscope slide. So meron tayong sample ng bacteria dito. So lalagyan muna ng crystal violet dye yung sample ng bacteria. Crystal violet dye, at parang itong Jobos dye, may color siya. So after applying crystal violet dye, pag tinignan natin sa microscope yung ating sample, edi magiging purple siya. No, because of the crystal violet dye, magiging purple colored cells yung ating sample ng bacteria. Alright? Okay, then lalagyan ng konting iodine. Alright, just to fix yung ating dye. Then, alcohol is applied to the sample. So, ano ngayon ang function ng alcohol? Di ba alam natin that alcohol is a solvent? Solvent yan eh. Alcohol is a solvent. So, pag nilagyan natin ngayon ng alcohol, yung ating bacterial sample, what do you think will happen? Mabubura yung crystal violet dye. No? Pero take note guys, hindi lahat ng bacteria sa sample ay apektado ng alcohol. Some of the bacteria will retain the crystal violet dye. May mga bacteria naman na mawawala yung crystal violet dye because of the alcohol. Matatanggal yung color nila. Alright? So may mga bacteria sa ating sample na purple yung color, and may mga bacteria na colorless, no, because of the alcohol. Natanggal yung violet dye. And lastly, safranin is applied. Safranin is a red dye. Pula yan. So pag nalagyan ng safranin yung sample, yung mga natanggalan ng color, sila yung mag-absorb ng safranin. Yung mga purple cells, walang epekto yung safranin sa kanila. So, under the microscope, dalawa ngayon ang color ng bacteria. May mga bacteria na purple and may mga bacteria na red. Yun na yung final output. No? May mga bacteria na purple in color. Ito mga purple colored bacteria, they were able to retain the crystal violet dye. Yung red naman, nabura ng alcohol. So, they absorb safranin. Alright? So, dalawang klaseng bacteria ngayon na makikita natin under the microscope. Yung red and yung violet. Alright? So, yung violet-colored bacteria are classified as gram-positive. Tandaan nyo yan guys ha. Gram-positive, yung purple-colored na bacteria. Okay, bacteria that retain the color of the dye, yung crystal violet ito, are called gram-positive. Bacteria that don't, yung red, are gram-negative. So yung purple-colored bacteria, gram-positive. Yung red-colored bacteria are gram-negative. Okay? Alright. So bakit ganun? No? Bakit may mga bacteria that can retain the crystal violet dye and may mga bacteria na hindi? No? If bacteria that retain the color of the dye are called gram-positive, and bacteria that don't are gram-negative, how would you describe the amount of peptidoglycan? So it has something to do with the cell wall. No, ito yung difference, no, ng gram-negative and gram-positive. It's because of the cell wall. For gram-positive bacteria, they have a large amount of peptidoglycan. Mas marami yung peptidoglycan ng gram-positive bacteria. So pag mas maraming peptidoglycan, edi they can trap the violet dye. No, kahit buhusan mo ng alcohol, hindi matatanggal yung crystal violet dye kasi ang gram-positive bacteria contains a large amount of peptidoglycan that traps the crystal violet dye. For gram-negative, yan, the alcohol rinse does not remove the violet dye kasi nga marami siyang peptidoglycan. No, this is in contrast with gram-negative. Ang gram-negative bacteria have less peptidoglycan. Konti lang yung peptidoglycan niya. So, ibig sabihin yan, the violet dye is easily rinsed. No, pag nilagyan ng alcohol, madaling matanggal yung crystal violet dye. And pag inabsorb yung safranin, magiging red siya. No? The cell appears either pinkish or reddish after the red dye, yung safranin is added. Okay guys, so ayan na, here is another illustration showing the difference between a gram-positive bacteria and gram-negative. So sa gram-positive bacteria, you have more peptidoglycan that traps the crystal violet dye. Ang gram-negative, kukonti lang, less peptidoglycan. So alcohol rinse can remove the crystal violet dye. And pag inabsorb yung safranin, magiging reddish siya under the microscope. Alright, ngayon ang tanong, bakit ginagawa to sa mga hospital? Now, why doctors need to perform itong procedure of the bacteria that they take from a sick person's body? No? Pag nako-confine tayo or napapa-hospital tayo, ito yung protocol Bakit kailangan i-classify ng mga doktor kung yung bacteria sa ating katawan ay gram-negative or gram-positive? Now, this is the general rule. Alright? Everybody listen to me. This is the general rule. Pag gram-negative kasi, if the bacteria is classified as gram-negative, ibig sabihin nun, yung bacteria ay more pathogenic. No, mas pathogenic yung bacteria. Ibig sabihin ng more pathogenic, mas nagbibigay yan ng sakit. No, as compared, pag ang gram-positive, pag gram-positive yung bacteria, hindi siya pathogenic. Ayan, no? Alright, the presence of the capsule will increase the virulence of the pathogen kasi ang mga gram-negative, may capsule yan Karamihan sa kanila may capsule. No, kaya nagiging sila, sanhi ng mga sakit. No, pag gram-negative. Now, ang mga rules ay may mga exceptions. Diba? Parang kay Mendel, diba? Yung kanyang 3 laws ay may mga exceptions din. Parang ganito din, may mga exceptions to the rule. Like for example, Bacillus anthracis. Ito yung scientific name ng bacteria, Bacillus anthracis. So, tingnan niyo yung pagkakasulat ng scientific name, First letter of the genus name is capitalized while the rest are written in lowercase. The genus name is underlined or italicized. The species name also is underlined or italicized. No? Okay, now Bacillus anthracis is gram-positive. Yun yung kanyang classification, gram-positive. Okay, so anong impression natin? Pag gram-positive, di ba hindi siya pathogenic? Hindi siya nagbibigay ng sakit. But Bacillus anthracis is one of the most virulent bacteria known to man. No, because Bacillus anthracis causes anthrax. Highly pathogenic ang anthrax. In fact, anthrax became an epidemic. No, bago pa ang COVID, nagkaroon na ng epidemya noon worldwide. No? And maraming namatay. Millions have died because of anthrax noon. And ang anthrax, ginamit ni Osama bin Laden, if you know him, nung nagkaroon ng Afghan War. Ginamit ni Osama bin Laden ang anthrax, Bacillus anthracis, as a biological weapon. Ginamit niya sa US. In-infect niya yung mga sulat, alam niyo yung mga snail mail, in-infect yan ng Bacillus anthracis as pinadala sa US. Maraming mga Amerikano nagkasakit. Kaya naggalit si Bush, yun ang presidente noon, kaya di ba ginera niya yung Afghanistan noon. This was used by Osama bin Laden as a biological weapon. Ayan, another exception is Thiobacillus ferrooxidans. Ang classification ng Thiobacillus is gram-negative. So, ibig sabihin ng gram-negative, disease causing siya, di ba? No? Pero ang Thiobacillus hindi. In fact, ang Thiobacillus, beneficial yan sa atin. It purifies copper. Di ba, saan ba natin ginagamit ang copper? Di ba, for wiring, electrical wiring. So, ang Thiobacillus actually purifies copper from copper ores. Ganon, no? So, ganyan ka-importante itong Thiobacillus. Pero gram-negative siya. Di ba, gram-negative? So, those are exceptions to the general rule. Di ba? Ang general rule natin, pag gram-negative, pathogenic. Pag gram-positive, hindi pathogenic. Again, ito yung mga exceptions. Alright? Okay guys, so I hope everything is clear about classifying bacteria according to whether they are gram-positive or gram-negative. Okay, so let's move on now para madali tayo. We can also classify bacteria according to shape. Yan. And under the microscope, bacteria comes in 3 different shapes. So first we have the rounded shape bacteria or cocci. Coccus singular. Pag coccus singular, cocci plural. Pag sinabing cocci or coccus, rounded shape bacteria sila under the microscope. Then we have bacilli. Bacillus singular, bacilli plural. Pag sinabing bacilli, rod shape. No? Parang elongated, parang sausage. Yan, no? Rod shape bacteria. Then we have spiral shape bacteria or spirilla. Diba? Does that ring any bells? Leptospirosis. Diba? Alam niyo yung sakit na yan, no? Leptospirosis. So, ang bacteria that causes leptospirosis is spiral shape. Yun, no? So, these are the 3 types of bacteria according to shape. No? So, we have the rod-shaped bacteria, bacilli, bacillus singular, spherical or rounded-shaped bacteria, cocci, coccus singular, and we have the spiral-shaped bacteria called spirilla, spirillum singular. Alright, pero guys, no, let me make this clear na pag tumingin tayo sa microscope, no, kagaya nito, yan, no? So, pag sumilip tayo sa microscope, you don't observe bacteria as individual cells. We usually observe them in groups or meron silang particular arrangement under the microscope. Ito yung dapat nating malaman no, as biology students, yung kanilang cellular arrangement under the microscope. Alright, ito yung mga terms na dapat ninyong malaman. Alright, so if the arrangement is in pairs, pa magpe-pair ang bacteria under the microscope, ang tawag dyan ay diplo. Tandaan niyo, pag sinabing diplo, the bacteria are arranged in pairs under the microscope. Pag yung bacteria naman are grouped in chains, para silang kadena, para silang trend, ang tawag dyan ay strepto. Strepto meaning that the bacterial cells are arranged in chains. And lastly, pag yung bacteria ay kumpul-kumpul parang grapes or they form clusters of cells, we call that stapilo. Pag sinabing stapilo, the cells are arranged in clusters or chains. Clusters or parang grapes. Ganun, no? Alright, so to further clarify this, everybody, kindly take a look at this. Ayan, no? So, kunyari ito yung field of view ng microscope. So, makikita natin yung mga bacterial cells dito are arranged in pairs. Then, ano yung shape ng bacteria? Di ba bilog? Alright, bilog siya pero yung bacteria are arranged in pairs. So, anong tawag doon? Diplo pairs tapos yung shape niya ay rounded. Kaya Diplococcus. You get it, guys? Alright, eto naman. Di ba nagkumpul-kumpul sila na parang grapes? Yan yung arrangement ng cells. So, anong tawag doon pag nagkumpulan sila? Stapilo. Yung shape ng cells, rounded. So, Staphylococcus. Ang tawag dyan ay Staphylococcus. Alright? Ayan, ito mga Staphylococcus bacteria. Ito naman, Streptococcus. Di ba ang mga cells ay rounded in shape, tapos para silang kadena, no? Para silang trend. So, ang tawag dyan ay Streptococcus. Alright? Ayan, kagaya nito. Ayan, Streptococcus yan. So, bilog-bilog yung cells, tapos they are arranged in chains. So, ang tawag dyan ay Streptococcus. And did you know, guys, that ang Streptococcus is common? Saan makikita yan? Yung Streptococcus bacteria sa bibig natin. And ito yung bacteria that causes bad breath and sore throat. So, ano yung gamot dyan usually pag may sore throat kayo? Diba ang gamot dyan ay Strepsils. Narinig niyo na yun? Strepsils from Streptococcus. Yan. So, ito, common to sa bibig natin, Streptococcus. Okay, ito, Streptobacillus. O, di ba, rod shape siya and they are arranged in chains. Kaya Streptobacillus. O, ito naman, parang grapes, clusters. So, ito is Streptococcus. Staphylococcus. Staphylococcus. Ito, Streptococcus. Ayan, no? Ayan, ito. Ito naman ay Streptobacillus kasi rod shape and they are in chains. Alright, ayan, Streptobacillus. So, ang mga spirilla bacteria, walang cellular arrangement. So, hindi natin ginagamit yung diplo, strepto, staphylo sa kanila. So, pag sinabi nating mode of respiration, it has something to do with the air. Meron dalawang klaseng bacteria. No? We have aerobic and anaerobic. Pag sinabi nating aerobic bacteria, they need oxygen to survive. Ang tawag dyan ay aerobic bacteria. May mga bacteria naman na hindi nila kailangan ng oxygen. Bacteria that do not require oxygen are called anaerobic. Ayan, natandaan nyo guys ha. Ang aerobic bacteria needs oxygen. Ang anaerobic, they do not require oxygen. Pero may mga additional terms ako dito ha. Okay, everybody listen to me. So, let's differentiate between obligate aerobes, facultative anaerobes, and obligate anaerobes. So, pag sinabi nating obligate, obligado, aerobes, they need oxygen. So, ibig sabihin ng obligate aerobes, they require oxygen. Pag walang oxygen, mamamatay sila. Alright? Then we have facultative anaerobes. Pag sinabi nating facultative anaerobes, they can survive with or without oxygen. No, pwede silang mabuhay with or without oxygen. And obligate anaerobes, obligado silang hindi mag-absorb ng oxygen. So obligate anaerobes, they are poisoned by oxygen. Pag may oxygen, mamamatay sila. Yan yung mga obligate anaerobes. Alright guys? Ayan, so please memorize these terms na yung ako na ibig sabihin nila. Alright? Okay, last. Classification of bacteria according to mode of nutrition. So dalawa lang yan. Pag sinabing nutrition, either autotrophic or heterotrophic. No, pag sinabi nating autotrophic, usually may chlorophyll. No, they can manufacture their own food. Some of them, they can manufacture food using light energy from the sun. May chlorophyll sila. So, ang tawag sa kanila ay photoautotroph. May mga bacteria naman na they can manufacture their own food pero they don't need light. Ang tawag sa kanila ay chemoautotroph that uses organic molecules. Usually sa mga hydrothermal vents to sa ilalim ng dagat. Di ba kasi sa dagat, light cannot penetrate. So yung mga bacteria sa ilalim ng dagat, they manufacture their own food using chemical energy sa hydrothermal vents. No, yan yung mga autotrophic bacteria. They can manufacture their own food. Ang mga heterotrophic, they cannot manufacture their own food. Wala silang chlorophyll, hindi sila makapag-chemosynthesis. So they cannot manufacture their own food. But they can break down dead organic matter. Ang tawag sa kanila ay saprophytes. Like yung mga decomposers, no? Mga saprophytes or decomposers, they break down dead organic matter. No? Most of the bacteria are actually saprophytes. And may mga bacteria naman that live in the bodies of other living things. Mga symbiotes yung mga yan. No? Some of them are parasitic, some of them are commensalistic in other organisms. Alright, so that's how we classify bacteria according to mode of nutrition. Alright guys, like ito, photosynthetic bacteria, ito yung mga cyanobacteria, no, na may chlorophyll. And they are responsible for oxygenating our atmosphere many millions of years ago in the history of life on Earth. Yan. Ang mga heterotrophic, mga saprophytes yan that they feed on dead organic matter for food. Yung mga symbiotic, they live within a host organism. Some of them are parasitic, some of them are commensalistic. Okay, some of them are also mutualistic, yung mga mutualistic bacteria, symbiotic bacteria.